What's up, ladies and gents? Dave B sells Chevy here from Schumacher Chevrolet of Livingston in Livingston, New Jersey. If you're in the North Jersey area, you want to buy your next Chevrolet from me. In today's video, we're going to talk about old age units. It's the end of September. We're in 2025. This is historically what we would consider in the car industry the year end, the model change, right? The leftover season. A lot of customers come in and historically that's what they understand as well. So they're coming in looking for deals on vehicles that are leftovers, or what we would consider in the industry old age units. So in this video, we're going to talk about some old age units, and we're going to talk about, are they good or are they bad from the perspective of the dealership, from the customer, and from the salesperson. Now, we have a pretty quick turnover rate here as far as how fast we move through new vehicles. So I went online and I only counted that we have 7 or 8 2025s left. One of them, for instance, being this Tahoe. This is a 2025 Chevrolet Tahoe Premier. This vehicle is currently 202 days old. Now, if I had to guess just by looking at it, why this vehicle is still here after 202 days, it's definitely because it does not have a sunroof. Periodically, there's constraints when you order vehicles. So I'm assuming when we ordered this Premier Tahoe, there was a constraint where you could not get a sunroof. So we built the vehicle anyway, and it landed here, and here it is. Most customers, when they're buying a Premier trim, and they're looking for that fully loaded model, they want it to be a fully loaded model. So they want it to have a sunroof. I know there's been numerous times that I've had conversations with customers that literally walk away from a vehicle, or they won't consider a vehicle because it doesn't have a certain option, especially when you're talking about something as big as a sunroof, which ironically everyone always says they never actually use. The next vehicle I'm going to point out to you here is 223 days old. It's this Silverado 2500 HD with the Duramax diesel. This is a work truck trim crew cab. And, you know, again, my guess on this one would be that it's two things combined. One, the Duramax diesel, because a lot of people will buy the gas engine versus spending that much extra for the diesel unless they're using it for the purpose of the diesel, like towing and, you know, doing some heavy lifting, heavy payload, heavy trailering. And the second thing is we don't do all that much commercial business here at this location. So when we have these HD trucks and these diesel trucks, a lot of times they do hang out here for a while. This one being here for, you know, about 6 to maybe 7 months now. Next up, at 102 days old, this 2025 Colorado Trail Boss. No rhyme or reason in my mind why this is still here. Definitely a nice truck. You know, we've had a number of them equipped pretty much the same way that have sold. So, you know, at 102 days old, which is a little over 3 months, not all that out of the ordinary. We do have a couple of Chevy Traxxas here. One is at 108 days, one is at 109. They're both 2025s. Those were actually swapped in from our other locations. So they haven't technically been here for that long, but that's how long it's been since they were shipped from the factory. Next up, we got a couple of Chevy Blazers. Now, the Chevrolet Blazer is going to be discontinued. There's not going to be a 2026 model. So if you want one, you got to act fast. This is a 2025 here. We have had this one here for about 137 days. And we have another one here. Now, this is where it can be a little deceiving because this is a 2025 as well. And this one just got here brand new from the factory 9 days ago. So you got to keep in mind that on certain vehicles, they're still building the same model year that you're currently in as far as calendar year. Other than those 7 or 8 vehicles we just went over, that's it at this location. Everything else is 2026, except for one truck, which is the one I want to talk about today as well. And that is this one, the Launch Edition 2024 Silverado EV RST. This truck has a special place in my heart because this was actually supposed to be my truck, but I was waiting so long to get it that I decided to buy the C8 Corvette instead. So this one is now here, it's for sale. And guess what? Last week, I think sometime around September 24th, it had a birthday. Yes, this vehicle is about 370 days old since it got here. Now, we did actually put this through our service loaner car program and used it as a service demo vehicle. It now has, I think, about 416 miles on it. So technically, this is a used car. However, if they're already new car programs, it would qualify for those programs. While this truck is awesome and I'm a huge fan of it, the obvious reason why it's still here and why it's a harder vehicle to sell is 2 reasons. One, it's an electric vehicle, which limits how many people are actually looking at it in the first place, because a lot of people are still fixated on gas and that's what they want and that's what works better for their lifestyle. The second thing is, it's a $100,000 truck. It's not cheap. I think MSRP on this is around $96,000. So that also limits your market in who's actually willing and able to buy the vehicle. That being said, we at the store here have sold, I would say, since the Silverado EV came out, about 5 to 7 of them, I would guess. Pretty much every one we got in, other than this one, has sold. And eventually this one will sell too. This really is a nice truck. I would not mind driving this thing, man. Especially the first edition. You got the nice Silverado EV first edition badge. You got the blue and red stitching on the inside. Huge screens, super cruise. Over 750 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds with wide open watts mode, a range of 440 plus miles on a single charge, head-up display, plenty of room here in the back seat for someone my height at 6'5", the full glass ceiling, which is awesome, plenty of storage in the front, a full bed in the back with the multi-flex tailgate to make access very easy, and not just a mid-gate, but a 60-40 split mid-gate. So you can have half of this down and fit something up to 10, I think 10.5 feet long to the backstop on the tailgate and still seat someone here on the right-hand side. This truck is literally perfect in pretty much every way except the cheap, flimsy, soft roll-on tonneau cover. In my opinion, it's got to go. We need something better on there. So if you're out there and you're in the market for a Silverado EV and you want a great deal on a launch edition 2024 with only 400 and something miles on it, I have it here. It's ready to go. Reach out to me, let me know. That's also a perfect segue to lead us into the next portion of the video, which is the perception of an old age unit to the dealership, to the customer, or to the salesperson. Now, obviously, in those three situations, the dealership has it worse. Their goal, sell the vehicles, sell them fast. You don't want them sitting around. You don't want them lingering. The more they linger, the more they're going to cost you. The more you're going to have to discount the car to sell it, the more there is chance of lot damage or something like that. Ultimately, the goal is get the stuff in and get it down the road as fast as possible. But that's not always the case. As in last month, when I sold the 2024 Silverado regular cab standard box, 2024, very similar to this 2026. It was a 4-wheel drive just like this. It was a 2-door just like this. It had the standard box, which is, in my opinion, the really nice configuration as far as how it sits. They do make it with an 8-foot bed, which a lot of people will buy for commercial use. This one just looks cooler. It is only a 3-seater essentially, because you can lift this up for the third seat belt. Most people would probably use it as a 2-seater. Fairly basic interior. It has the Turbo Max 4-cylinder engine. You know, again, not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's going to look at a vehicle like this, which does make it harder to sell, and sometimes these sit a little bit longer. The funny thing is with that 2024 is we had like 5 or 6 2025 versions of that truck that sold prior to that 2024. So what does that mean for a dealership? The dealership perspective, right? For them to sell something that's that old, you're gonna have to be better priced than with the newer version that's out. You gotta be cheap. And it really becomes an answer of how cheap, right? So to use the car I sold last month as an example, we had that car discounted online. We were advertising it wherever we could. It was on the internet and it was discounted to the nines, right? To sell it. Obviously, we have to move it. We know the position we're in as a dealership. You gotta be cheap. The customer that ended up buying it came in off the internet. They found it online. It was specific because of the deal. Now, he was also in an upper hand position because he knew we were looking to move the vehicle, and that once he decided, yes, this is the vehicle for me, he made us an offer. The offer was thousands less than what we were advertising it. And keep in mind, we were advertising it very, very discounted because of the situation we were in. So we worked the deal like we would any deal and ultimately turned down their offer by about $1,000. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how could you lose a deal over $1,000? The car's been here for 680 days. Oh, did I mention that? That vehicle was 680 days old. But anyway, we needed the customer to move up a little bit. The deal didn't make sense. It did not make sense as a dealership. The only thing that sort of made sense was we did have somebody interested in the vehicle. Long story short, the guy walked. He was super as if, I'm going to buy the car for my price, or I'm not buying it at all, and he left. So we let him leave. The next day I'm at work, I'm working with customers. I walk into the showroom and boom, there he is. He's standing there in front of me. I was like, oh, cool, welcome back. You're reconsidering it? You want to do it? And he looked at me, he said, yeah, I want to do it. Ultimately, they went to another store. They kind of explained the deal they got. That other store said, listen, man, go back there and buy it. You're not finding this deal anywhere else. Take advantage of it. And they did. They bought the vehicle. So from the dealership point of view in that situation, it was a flat out loss. You know, the car sat for 680 days. They lost when they sold it. It was a loser deal every which way. And listen, those things are gonna happen. It's business. Sometimes you cut your losses and you basically make it up on other cars, right? So the opposite of that, right, is factory orders. Cars come in, they're sold literally the day after they arrive. Customer takes delivery, no interest paid, no sitting on the lot. A nice, easy, quick transaction that is more beneficial to the dealership. And I think that would be true in any business. You have your ups, you have your downs, your average is what you're looking at. And statistically, the averages are gonna be, you know, positive for a dealership. It's a for-profit company. Ultimately, if every deal was like that deal at 600 days old, the place would have a close sign on it. It wouldn't even be open because you couldn't run a business and not make money. Now, the customer's perspective in this is actually a very good one, right? They're the one saving all the money. They're the one that's getting the discounts and the deals. I actually had this 2026 here when he bought the 2024, and you can see, I mean, you'd pay thousands upon thousands more for a vehicle that's basically 2 years newer on as far as a model year, but you'd be spending more for ultimately the same thing. The other thing the customer is getting the benefit of is they're getting a vehicle that's a 2024, technically 2 calendar years old with no miles on it. So if you were to buy the 24 versus buy this 2026 and then trade both of those in after 4 years, the 24 is going to look like a much lower mileage vehicle as far as average miles driven, because technically it's going to be a 6-year-old car even though it was only on the road for 4. So let's say you bought a 2026 and you drove it 12,000 miles a year, and then the other person bought the 24 and they drove it 12,000 miles a year. On paper, because it's a 6-year-old vehicle, the average mileage driven is only about 8,000, which means you'd probably get more value out of it down the road when you want to trade it in. Lastly, the salesperson, me, right? The one that everyone cares about. How does it hurt, benefit? How does it affect me for old age units? I actually love them. I love when we have a couple of old age units on the lot. Why? Usually, to motivate salespeople to sell the old age inventory, there's some sort of a bonus, there's some sort of a spiff. You know, rather than selling a brand new 2026 at a discounted price and maybe making what we all call as a flat delivery or a mini deal, you might make $1,000 on something that's technically easier to sell, and your customer is very happy because they got such a great deal. So for me personally, I love selling an old age unit. That 680-day-old unit I sold last month was a pretty lucrative deal for me, all things considered, because it's not like it was a lucrative deal for me because of the money made on the car, but it was just based on the bonuses put on that car to sell it.